Have you ever noticed that when people talk about executive presence, it almost sounds like they're asking you to be someone else? They want you to lower your voice, smile less, be more assertive, take up more space, lean in. Do not be too emotional. Girl, don't be too feminine. Don't be too much. And if you're anything like the women I work with, you're probably thinking, if I have to become someone else to lead, is it even worth it? In my world, that is not executive presence. That's performance. And here's what I've discovered after years of working with women, including myself, who are presenting in a way that does not feel natural or normal. The women with the strongest executive presence are rarely the loudest person in the room, although they can be if they need to be. They're rarely trying to prove they're the smartest, although many times they are. They're not performing confidence every 5 minutes. Girl, because they are relaxing. They're not trying to have their nervous system tied in a knot. No, they've built something much more powerful. They've built an internal quiet authority, meaning their nervous system has calmed itself down. And quiet authority does not come from learning how to look powerful. It comes from no longer abandoning yourself in order to appear powerful. Girl, when I figured that out, I was like, holy feminine F balls. Like I can hold all of this power within me and stay quiet, don't have to be leaking energy everywhere, and I can be super powerful. So that's what we're talking about here today. We're talking about how to hold that power internally so that you can speak when you need to. Otherwise, you're holding all of that powerful energy inside of you. This is a completely different conversation about executive presence. Girl, let's get into it. For years, we've been taught that executive presence is external. You know how you dress that killer ass suit, how you speak, how you stand, how you shake someone's hands. Do things do these things matter? And do things that do matter? Some things matter and some things don't. But they're not the foundation. How you dress, how you speak, how you stand, how you shake someone's hand. It's good, but it's not all that matters. They're expressions of your embodiment. The foundation is your internal architecture, your internal embodiment, your body, how you live with inside your body, how you live with inside your nervous system, and how you move from that place. Because what happens? People stop listening to what you're saying and start responding to who you are. They're responding to, can people rely on you? Do your words match your actions? Do your values match your decisions? Can you stay grounded when the room gets chaotic? That's what people experience as executive presence. But listen up. One of the biggest myths I see is, and I've experienced myself, is the idea that women need to become harder to become more influential. Girl, that is a sermon all by itself, right there. I don't believe that. I don't believe that anymore. I don't believe that you have to become colder. I don't believe that you have to become intimidating. I don't believe that you have to disconnect from your humanity. I don't believe you have to disconnect from your body. I don't believe that you have to leave your femininity and your feminine energy on the sideline while you're leading, while you're in executive presence. What I do believe is that you have to stop leaking your energy. Think about how much energy brilliant women spend over explaining, managing everyone's emotions, trying to make everyone comfortable, replaying conversations, second guessing themselves. Girl, if we just stop right there and think about all of that and hold that in, you save so much of your energy. I call it erotic energy, your erotic life force, where it keeps you alive. When you start second guessing yourself all the time and carrying responsibilities that don't belong to you, when you stop doing that and holding the energy inward and letting everyone else have what's theirs, you turn the page. Because all of those things that I talked about, over explaining, managing everyone's emotions, replaying conversations, Lord have mercy, second guessing ourselves, that is not executive presence. That is energetic leakage. And the more energy you're leaking, the less authority people experience. Yep. Here's something that completely changed the way that I lead. I stopped asking, how do I look more confident? And I started asking, where am I giving my authority away? Those are two very different questions. I was on a business call a while back and I just stayed quiet and I let the conversation unfold. And I was like, oof. In the past, I would have tried to help the person along. I would have tried to make sure that nobody felt uncomfortable. And I just said, let people deal with their own stuff. I'll hold my own executive presence. So, because confidence can't be performed, authority can't. Authority is felt. People don't trust you because you look confident for 30 minutes. They trust you because they experience consistency. You say what you mean, you do what you say, you know your priorities. You don't become a different person depending on who's in the room. I'm feminine. I lead from a feminine place. I show up in a feminine way. I dance in a feminine way. I'm in relationships in a feminine way. And when I lean too far in a way that is performative, I'm like, So, ladies, that's quiet authority when you're not leaking energy everywhere. Will I say a couple of F bombs every now and then? Absolutely. But I still have the quiet authority that I need when I need it. And what feels better is that energy stays with you. Here's what I've learned: quiet authority isn't passive, it asks great questions. It doesn't rush to fill silence. Girl, it doesn't need to rescue every conversation. Some conversations just need to go where it needs to go, and you get to lean back while it's happening. It doesn't need to have the last word. It doesn't confuse urgency with importance. I have a lot of energy, so when I start talking to people, I want them to feel the beauty of a woman who's alive. Yet I have quiet authority. When you are in quiet authority, you have the capacity to observe without reacting. Before I really, really settle into my own quiet authority, girl, I would be trying to help people and explain, just leaking energy everywhere. Now I'm like, hell no to that. When you are in executive presence and have the capacity to observe before reacting, this is one of the most overlooked leadership skills today. The ability to stay with yourself when it's uncomfortable, while everything around you is asking you to leave yourself. So, what does that mean? Leaving yourself is you leave your nervous system behind because you're so nervous and uncomfortable that you go to find comfort in someone else. Stand in your body, stay in your body. The book Lean In, I respect the author, but a woman needs to land in her body in order to lead successfully and to be able to renew after leadership. We women are burning out because we're not renewing ourselves. So if you're trying to build executive presence, don't start with your posture. Don't start with your voice. Don't start with your wardrobe. Start with your relationship with yourself first. Can you trust yourself? Can you hold a boundary without apologizing for it? Can you let other adults own their responsibilities? Can you stay connected to your values when there's pressure to perform? Because your nervous system is communicating long before your words ever do. People feel your relationship with yourself, and that's what creates trust. This is why I say executive presence isn't something you put on, it's something you uncover. It's what remains when you stop performing, girl, when you stop trying to earn your place in the room. You begin to occupy it differently when you're not trying to earn it. You're like, I'm here and I don't have to do all of that. Not because you become louder, but because you become more coherent, more aligned, more available to yourself. If there's one thing I hope you take away from today's conversation, it's this. Do you do you not have you do not have to sacrifice your authenticity to become an extraordinary leader. In fact, your authenticity may be the very thing your leadership has been missing. Executive presence isn't about becoming someone else. Don't let anybody fool you with that. It's about becoming so deeply rooted in who you are that your presence speaks before you ever do. That's quiet authority, girl. And in my experience, that's the kind of leadership people never forget. If this conversation resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What does executive presence mean to you now? And if you're ready to build leadership that doesn't cost you yourself, subscribe because that's exactly what we explore here. Because power should never cost the woman herself. I'm Eva Simone, and it's been wonderful sharing my thoughts on this. You can find us at our website at embodimentiseverything.com for executive advisory and seeing the services that we are offering. And the services that we're offering, we have a house, and the house has different doors that are ready for you to walk through. I hope you have a wonderful day. Be fully you, girl. It is time. Thank you. Bye.